Welcome into Georgia High School Sports Daily, powered by IBEW Local 613 from the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk. Along Craig Sager, I'm Georgia Chambers. Craig, we have a great show today. We're going to be welcoming in a lot of special guests, but before we get to that, we're going to start with our fast break headlines. And something we started yesterday, we're going through the Atlanta Journal-Constitution's Super 11. We're going to highlight two of those guys today, starting off with five-star cornerback Jordan Edmonds out of Sprayberry. He's committed to Alabama, 6'3", 180 pounds. He plays on both sides of the ball and makes an impact.
Yeah, so we highlighted Tyler Atkinson, Xavier Griffin yesterday. These two guys today, they are as good as it gets at their position. With Jordan Edmonds, to me, he's a guy that can shut down the entire side of the field. He was a huge reason Sprayberry was very successful last year, had one of the best years they've ever had. And you mentioned his ability playing two ways. Him as an offensive threat is going to be key for Sprayberry this year. They have a new coaching staff. We know what he can do defensively, playing man coverage, using the sideline to his advantage. But those plays offensively, that might be what makes Sprayberry a very dangerous team this year.
And he's the 8th highest rated cornerback in Georgia this century and the highest since Travis Hunter. He's been a 3-year starter, so going into his senior season, what impact do you feel like he'll make on this year's defense for Sprayberry?
Yeah, well, you said it, the highest rated player since Travis Hunter. That is what he reminds me of defensively. He's so good at closing space, but to me, it's his understanding of the sideline. He's not going to get stacked by the receiver. He knows how to use that to his advantage, and really, it's a no-go zone. You're not going to be able to throw his way. He's pesky, he's physical, he's competitive, and he's also going to produce those negative plays for him. I think he's exciting. He's worth the price of admission, and Sprayberry wants to continue what they built last year with that great season. They aren't going to want to take a step back. It's only going to get more difficult with this tough region they're in, but he's going to be a leader for this year's team.
Let's head to the trenches. 4-star Deuce Gerald out of Collins Hill. He committed to LSU, 6'2", 280 pounds. He's a number 12 defensive lineman in the nation, number 11 player in Georgia. And looking at last season's stats, again, just like Jordan Edmonds, he's played on both sides of the ball, which is really notable because 6'2", 280 pounds, the fact that he's versatile and able to move, and that just shows what he'll bring to this LSU team once he graduates.
Yeah, you don't normally see a defensive lineman that is playing running back, but it's because of his quickness and his quick feet. The only player I've seen do that was Robert Kindici, I think in 2011 and 12. He obviously led Grayson that season to their state title against Walton. I think if Collins Hill wins the state title this year, you're going to see his impact on the defensive side, but also him maybe getting 10 carries, playing in the red zone. He was so huge in tilting the game in the favor of Collins Hill last year in some of those close matchups with a Grayson where they beat him early on. He's clutch, but to me, it's the peskiness he has on the defensive line. He can create the negative plays that just throws the offense off.
Let's move along to our fast break headlines. Starting off, Athens Banner Herald released their top 20 players to watch. And I thought it was interesting. 5 players from North Oconee, 4 players from Prince Avenue Christian. And we're going to see Prince Avenue Christian in our first matchup of the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. All offensive players from Prince Avenue Christian on this list under first-year head coach John Rick. Who are some players maybe from Prince that jump out at you, Craig, or this list in general?
Yeah, well, this list, I mean, I'm enjoying going through some of the different areas of the state with their terrific 20, the Gwinnett 6, the Cobb Dynamite dozen. It just shows how many great players there are. There's a lot of underclassmen on this Athens Banner Herald list. That's exciting to me. You mentioned Prince Avenue Christian, Andrew Beard, still an underclassman. He has a chance to be one of the best players in this group this year. We'll get to see him in the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic, but CJ Dockery and Hudson Hill, them to me, they are crafty receivers. They're good at their specific strengths, great slot receivers, great route runners, and they're going to be a key to keep this offense moving.
And going back to Prince Avenue Christian, that's a team that when we talked to head coach John Rick, Ben Musser, the quarterback, and Andrew Beard, as you mentioned, I feel like Ben Musser has stepped into a more progressive role with this team, and he's really stepped up in terms of his leadership. But when you have a guy like Andrew Beard and that backfield able to take it all the way, I feel like they'll have a lot of versatility when it comes to the pass game and the rush attack.
Yeah, you aren't going to see Ben been hold on to the football for long. He's going to be in that pocket. He can hit the quick slants, but then if he gets into trouble, he is a great runner. We saw the athleticism last year against West Forsyth, and then he has this ability to dump it off to Andrew Beard if the pocket claps, and then Andrew can take it the distance. So I think that's why he's going to put up big numbers this year, because he has so many weapons around him, and if he's in trouble, he can get it to those quick guys.
And congrats to all the guys named to that preseason watch list. Again, that's something that we'll continue to update as the season goes on, of guys that we've been impressed by, but a lot of great names to look forward to. All right, moving along to our fast break headlines. Tanisha Rush, she's a Central Gwinnett grad. She's set to compete in the Deaflympics Games in Tokyo. She's had hearing aids since she was 9, began playing basketball at the Boys and Girls Club, and went on to play for Central Gwinnett Black Knights 2 decades ago. And this will be her first time competing with the USA Deaf Women's Basketball team. And she's excited for the opportunity and what this platform will do just to raise awareness, too, for the Deaflympics.
Yeah, and just shows all the hard work paying off. I mean, she had a great season for Central Gwinnett, making a name for herself. But now to get the opportunity to go out to Tokyo, continue her basketball career, challenge herself on this stage. It's a great story. I'm looking forward to following it, and good job by the Gwinnett Daily Post highlighting this great story.
And moving along, so Craig and I have spent a lot of time talking about the matchups going into Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic, but even just the tough regions that we're going to get into. So you'll have to keep your eyes on Region 6 5A. Sprayberry is one of those, and we just mentioned one of their top players, Jordan Edmonds, earlier today. But Craig, when you look at this list of schools in this region, who jumps out at you besides Sprayberry as somebody that you'll have to keep your eyes on?
Yeah, so right now, if you were to pick one favorite, it's tough because Sprayberry, they are the defending region champs. They're going to have a new head coach this year. But then Sequoia is the team that really shocked a lot of people, making it out to the quarterfinals last year. So those are probably considered the two front runners. But teams like Creekview, River Ridge, they are really close. And then what was interesting about Sprayberry last year, they actually lost to Pope in the region opener. Pope ended up not making the playoffs, finishing near the basement, and then Sprayberry went on a great run. So even a team like Pope can shake it up. I think there's probably 5 or 6 teams that are going to be competing for these 4 spots, but obviously who is going to get that number 1 seed will be very interesting, and those are going to have a playoff type atmosphere to them, because one loss, I mean, that can be the difference in playing a top-ranked team in that first round. It's going to be very interesting just how they are able to take advantage of the late region games for that playoff positioning. If I had to take a guess, though, I think Will Rajecki in Sequoia, what he did last year in the playoffs, showed that he can take over games. And when he's healthy and able to take 25, 30 touches offensively, that team is very hard to beat.
During media days, we talked to teams about how important it is for their non-region matchups to be so tough. How important do you think, especially in looking with this region, those games before they get into region play will affect teams?
I think it's huge, and that was the main difference with a team like Sprayberry last year. They've had good starts to their season, but they've been in tough regions before, teams like Kell, some other surrounding area schools. But last year was really the first year where they progressed through the season, really believed in themselves, and had that first taste of playoff success. I think it's huge, though, just for a team like Sprayberry to pick up where they left off with the new coaching staff, where they have so much talent on this team. It's just going to be about getting that leadership, that focus, and knowing what the goal is, and that's obviously these big region games.
It'll be exciting to see. Last but certainly not least, we're going to spend some time talking about something we've been looking forward to for a very long time. We have the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic starting tomorrow. Craig, we'll have some of the first games in the entire country, starting off with Prince Avenue and Callaway. We'll have a full day tomorrow, leading us all the way up to Saturday, which will be headlined by 4 games in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. How excited are you to be able to cover this when you've actually played in the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic yourself?
Yeah, when I was in it, we got beat pretty badly by, that was Camden County. But it was just a lot of fun being in the Georgia Dome for that, and then obviously covering the same teams. My favorite memories, some of the games that stick out, the Walton Lowndes game, I think it was 3 years ago, one of the best finishes I've ever seen with Ja'Curry Brown from Lowndes, trying to mount this historic comeback, and then Walton holding on. The Archer North Gwinnett game, I think in 2017, we had Milton in it, Adam Clack's first year. I really saw that moment was when Milton really took off as a program. And then some of the big matchups, I think this year that Douglas County North Gwinnett one's really exciting for me. That will be the grand finale. I want to see what Douglas County is able to do on this big stage.
Well, and as a player, coaches were talking about how important it is for players to get this level of visibility and to be able to start their season like this. When you played in the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic, what's something that you really took away from this experience?
Well, when you're playing in a big atmosphere like that, it is very hard to just let your kind of emotions overwhelm you a little bit, where you can't even remember what you're doing. It's hard to even hear yourself think. That's great practice. And obviously some of these teams where you have first-time starters out there, this is a big first test for them. Your first varsity start might be in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. You're going to remember that the rest of your life, but it's just about finding some way to calm yourself down mentally. That's what's going to be the key. But these coaches understand that, and that's something they've been talking to their players about all off-season, just how to handle such a electric atmosphere.
And I think it's important to note this event has been circled on our calendars for a very long time, but it's also been circled by both coaches and players. So we're excited to see the level of competition starting tomorrow at Kell, but don't go too far. We'll actually have Dave Hunter joining our show soon enough to talk about the upcoming events and so much more. We'll be back right after the break.
Nobody wants to hear the word roaches, because who wants to admit they have roaches?
I actually found some weird roaches. I didn't know what they were. I decided to choose Breda. I reached out to them. They check in routinely. They're explaining what they're doing, so there's a lot of clarity in the process as well. I think that just speaks to the level of safety that I feel with the organization.
The facts are, roaches are everywhere in our environment, so what are you doing to keep them out of your home?
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Great teams are committed, focused on the details, and work hard to be their best. From practice to games, right down to their gear. Your field is a critical part of the game that allows your athletes to showcase their athletic abilities. Sports Turf is committed to bringing your team innovative sports surfaces with unparalleled performance. You bring the vision. Our team brings it to life.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career. And by Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters.
Welcome back into Georgia High School Sports Daily. Craig, we've been talking a lot about the upcoming Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic, and now we're very excited to bring in a special guest. We have the president of the Georgia Officials Athletic Association, Jeffrey Smith. How are you doing today, Jeffrey?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing well. Let's jump right into it. 16 years of officiating football. What first brought you to refereeing?
It was actually my brother and my uncle actually brought me into it. I had just got back home from college and just trying to do something in my spare time. And so I started at a Little League park with them. And that's really how I got started.
When you're still able to stay connected to the game of football, what does that mean to you to be able to see all these youngsters and even some of these guys go on to play at the college and eventually NFL level?
It's really exciting. I'd say Georgia has some of the best football around in the country. So it's really nice to see when you see a kid that you saw play, you saw them develop over the years, and then you finally get to see them on that big stage. And so when they make it into the college level, college ranks, or even to the NFL level, and then you just see the growth that's taken place and see where they started from and where they actually ended up at.
Then Jeff, I want to ask you just about the preparation for this season. I think you guys meet on Mondays typically, but in terms of getting the crews ready for this first week, it's a busy week statewide. What goes into that?
So it's a lot of preparation, a lot of work that we use. So we do a lot of classroom work, do a lot of rule study, take quizzes, things of that nature. So we really start back in April, sometimes in March. And then we just really kind of meet on a monthly basis, just getting guys prepared. And as we get closer and closer to the season, then we start meeting on a regular cadence weekly. And so then we can work on our mechanics, prepare for the tests that we have to take, and things of that nature so that we're ready in tip-top shape before the season.
And then what have you seen just with the overall interest? Obviously, officials are crucial for the football season, making sure there's enough statewide. But in terms of your association, what have you seen with some of the new names that have come in?
So it's really just guys are excited. They want to learn and really ready to get out on the field, but we have to kind of slow them down a little bit and tell them it's a process in order to get started. But really, there's a lot of interest out there, and we still need more officials just to join, even if people want to run the clocks, things of that nature. We have space for the people to be able to do that.
You'll be playing a role in the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. What are you most excited for with this action kicking off this week?
It's really just kicking off football season. It's here. We have, I think, almost 6 months of football to prepare for. So it's really just getting the season started. It's finally here. All the preparation, all the work that we've done up until this point just gets us ready to be able to kick off another season. And I know teams are really excited. Coaches are excited. Got some new faces, new coaches in new schools, things of that nature. So everybody's really excited about football. And it's the best time in Georgia, football season.
You mentioned the level of excitement. What else do you feel like, or what do you feel like an event of this magnitude does for high school sports in the state?
I mean, this is just top tier level. You see top tier talent that just really kicks off the football season. And so you see the best of the best. And it's a great opportunity for the kids just to be able to get out there and play in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, really, and just to get out there and start their season. And so, of course, then hopefully they'll be there at the end of the season as well to play for the championship.
And then I believe your association will be doing the Dunwoody-St. Pius game and then the North Gwinnett and Douglas County. Both those games will be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Saturday. Are you going to be out there for either one of those games?
Yes. So I'll be, I have one of my other officers that'll be there for the morning game, and then I'll be at the night game with our crew.
Fantastic. And then how do the officials prepare for this first week, knowing that it is going to be pretty hot? Obviously, we'll be inside for those games, but just handling that heat those first couple weeks.
I started telling them early. I said, you got to hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's like just as we're out there, because we're a team in itself too. So we got to make sure that we're in tip-top shape. We got to stay hydrated, start getting outside, getting acclimated to Georgia weather as well. And so taking time just to be able to walk or jog outside in the heat so that you get yourself used to this type of weather and to prepare yourself so your body's not so in total shock as well too. So just really getting out there, getting your exercise in and so that you can be prepared. And of course, more than anything, I can't say it enough. It's just hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
And then how has flag football added to the need for officials in the state of Georgia and opened up more opportunities?
It's opened up a lot, actually, and I think Georgia's now up to, I think it's 300 schools now that have flag football. So it's really taken off over these past couple of years. So definitely a lot of opportunity. It kind of creates a little bit of a hectic schedule during the week because flag football now is going to start at the end of September. And so we got to really get going with that and just have our guys out there. So really guys can officiate almost every day of the week if they so choose, except for Sundays. I think we don't have anything on Sundays, but there's definitely a lot of opportunity out there for that.
With the growth of sports, as we mentioned, flag football, to name one of them, that means that you need more refs involved. So when you're trying to recruit people or have referees join your staff, what's one thing that you really want them to understand about refereeing for high school athletics?
or two biggest things is that you got to have fun. If you're not having fun out here, then this may not be the thing for you, because it really is. You got to have fun out of the kids, and you can get a part of the game. You're a part of the game in itself, but you got to have fun out there and enjoy what you do. And I'm a big proponent of it. If you don't enjoy what you do, then there's no reason for you to be out there. But then, other than that, it's just really our preparation and taking time to be able to learn the rules, learn the mechanics, things of that nature. And that's another thing that I really do stress, and so that we can be prepared for any type of situation that occurs on the field.
Officiating football for 16 years, is there a game or a memory that stands out to you as one of your favorites?
Good question. There's a lot of them, though. I can't really say anything in particular. I think probably one thing I get most excited for when I do get the opportunity is do the Corky Kell, actually, and just being in the Mercedes-Benz, being in the field there, and just really kicking off the season.
And then walk us through the different roles for the officials on the football field. There's the down judges, the line judges, field judge. How do you get that team together, and which role will you be in?
So I'm a field judge. So I work with the guys that are back there in the back. But mainly we break off into position groups. And so everybody learns by their position. So we separate it out we have the referees work together. We have umpires together. Then we have our wing guys that work together. Then all of our deeps, they work together. And so they're really learning, looking at plays, looking at film, things of that nature. So then they can be better prepared, understanding what our mechanics are, where to move, things of that nature. And so we really break out that way. And then we also kind of break out into where we partner, because we have our partners on the field. So it's the referees and umpires. Sometimes they get together and so they can work on how they can better work well as a team, as a unit, and then the wings with the deeps as well. And so operate that way and working as a team and how they can be able to help each other out.
And then we've seen video replay be introduced in recent years. What's your thoughts about how that's worked so far and the future of that?
It's interesting to see that actually get started in high school football. Of course, you've seen it for a long time in college ranks and NFL, but that's something that's just getting started. And hopefully it doesn't come all the way down into the regular season games as well. But I think Georgia does a great job, especially since they introduced it into the state championship, so that we make sure that we're getting the right call every time.
And then televised games are a little different. You have the TV timeouts. What have you kind of talked about with the rest of the crew about handling that?
And so our thing is, it's just a part of the game. It's just like a timeout. And so we just got to manage it well, but then also be prepared. Use that time to kind of recover, or if you need to talk to a coach or a player about anything, use that time. You can do that. But then right when that timeout gets close to being in, we just need to get the players back out on the field. And so it's really working through what that looks like, and so that we're not wasting a lot of time and we're ready to play when the TV's on.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
All right. Thank you so much. Y'all have a great one.
All right, and y'all stay tuned. We still have a lot coming up on our show. After the break, Dave Hunter will join us, and then later on, Kaylee Mansell will also join us to talk all things Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. We'll be back right after the break.
Hey, Coach Hunter, if you can hear us, would you try to turn that camera on so we can do a quick test before we go live?
Where is the camera?
There should be a camera icon on the screen that you just push.
It might be in the lower corner, Coach.
Check the lower corner.
Wait a minute.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Transform your future today. And by Smart Local 85. Sheet metal is a smart move.
Welcome back into Georgia High School Sports Daily. Craig, we have a big event coming up tomorrow. It's the start of the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic, and we're really excited to bring in a very special guest. Hall of Fame coach Dave Hunter is going to be joining us. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And you?
We really appreciate having you today. It's the 34th annual Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. And Craig, we've seen it go from the Georgia Kickoff Classic to the Corky Kell Classic, and now the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. Coach, how have you seen this event grow over the years?
Well, it's just grown so much, and our competition's gotten so much better as time has gone on. It's certainly a labor of love, and it's our 34th year. So we're excited to
Hey, we can't find
have this, and we're excited for the
We're excited too.
for the competition.
We got to catch up with you at the luncheon, and we got to see a lot of important players and their coaches to preview this big event. Who are you most excited to see in this year's Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic?
Well, I'm excited to see all of them because it's a very first game, the very first games for all the teams during the season. And the game on Wednesday between Prince Avenue and North Atlanta appears to be the very first football game in the United States. So we're excited about that, and we're excited for all the other teams. You try to say which teams are the best matchup. I don't know which teams are, but the North Gwinnett Douglas County game, the last game on Saturday, looks to be an exciting game.
And Coach, we can hear you fine, so we'll just focus on the audio. You don't need to worry about the camera, but
okay.
You had the
technology of me, Craig. That's difficult.
You either love it or hate it. I usually hate it, so I get it.
We got you on. We can hear you loud and clear. Coach, you were talking with Corky Kell when this event was first started. Obviously, he passed away soon into it. You guys changed the name, but what do you think he would have to say about 30 plus years, 34 years, just how far this event has come and what it's turned into?
But Corky passed away early in '95, I think, and Ralph Williams spoke at his funeral, and we had all decided at the time to rename the game because he had the initial idea of it. He made me promise him to keep the game alive, and we've continued to do that. And I think he'd be proud to have his name on it as I am, and really excited to be able to put his name on it.
Yeah, and Coach Hunter, I was talking about in 1996 when you guys famously played Valdosta in the Corky Kell. You lost that game, then you avenged that in the championship. So early on in Corky Kell, I felt like that North-South Georgia rivalry was a big component of it, but now it's become more inclusive. We have teams all over the state that are represented. We got private schools now, APS schools. What has that meant to the state of Georgia, being able to include more corners of the state?
Well, anytime you can be inclusive, it's always good. And we really worked hard to be inclusive. IJ Rosenberg has done a really good job with that, along with Jimmy. And so we're very excited to have the APS schools. And then schools, we've had schools from down south. We've had Camden County before. We've had Lowndes. We've had Valdosta. We've had Colquitt County. Obviously, big schools are helpful because they're able to sell more tickets. But then we've got the APS schools, and we've had Douglas County schools before, DeKalb schools. So we've got a pretty good mixture.
And the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic has been around for 3 decades and counting. With an event of this magnitude, what do you feel like that really does for these high school athletes to be able to participate in such a big event?
Well, it'll mean a lot more to them later on in their life when they can tell their children and grandchildren that I played in that place where they play the Super Bowl. And, they'll be able to say that and in their own television, and they'll have a copy of that they'll have a keepsake forever. So, it's a real feather in their cap to play in this game. And we think it's an honor. We think that it's the best early season game east of the Mississippi, if not the country.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that, Coach. Is there a memory or a game that really stands out to you as one of your favorites of all these past years?
Well, that would have to be probably in 1993, we played Southwest DeKalb and were a prohibitive underdog. They were ranked number 3 in the country, and we ended up winning the game. And so that was a big win for us. We've had some other big wins in there, but I remember that one vividly because my youngest son played on that team. And so that was special to me.
And Coach, I think it's so great that people are going to be able to just watch every single one of these games 4 days in a row. As a football coach, though, in this opening game, you guys have so many goals you're focusing on. You want to do well in the region. You got to prepare for the playoffs. But what makes playing in a big game week 1 help just get the team started?
Well, it reminds me when we played Valdosta in '96. Our kids knew they were playing Valdosta in the Georgia Dome, in the Corky Kell Classic, and so you prepare better. They focus better in early season. They focus better in the summertime when they know they're going to go play Valdosta and they don't want to be embarrassed. And, that even though we lost that game, that proved a lot to our kids because they were really upset. We lost on the last play of the game. And so it upset our kids, and they wanted to play them again. So we were fortunate enough to be able to do that. But so what happens, Craig, is you when you know you're playing on a big stage like that, you want to win that game. I heard the Walton coach talk at the luncheon about one of their goals was to win the first game. Because you win that first game, you're in Mercedes-Benz, you're on television, and it puts a real mark on you. And your kids develop instant confidence.
And then how would you say these matchups compare to some of the previous years? What do you think about this year's lineup?
Well, I love the lineup because we got some new people. We've changed some teams. It's a 2-year contract, but they don't play the same team each year. Change the teams each year. So I think we got some really good matchups. You never know, but I think there are some real good matchups. There's some good matchups in Rome on Friday, and the matchups on Saturday, particularly the last 2 games, are really good. We think Brookwood will be much improved, and Houston County's proved they can score. So it'll be an interesting game. And then we got Dunwoody and St. Pius playing in the first game. Neither one of them have ever been there, so they'll have to get over the shock of playing there first.
We had a special moment at the luncheon. You introduced a father and son from the crowd. The father had played himself in the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic, and now his son's playing. How do you feel like that's testament to just how much culture and tradition is involved in this classic?
Well, that was 34 years ago. He played in the first one in the Georgia Dome, and in 1992, and now his son's playing in one at Dunwoody. So it's kind of a unique situation. Rhett Hesprich is the name, and his son goes by the same name. And he played for us again at Brookwood in 1992. We played McEachern and lost. And then his son comes back 34 years later. Rhett went on to play at Maryland, was an outstanding player there for 4 years, and got his degree and is doing very, very well in business. So we're proud of those boys, proud of everybody that's ever played in the game. It's a real honor.
And Coach, what did it mean just in 2023 to have your name added alongside Corky Kell?
Well, it's very humbling, very, very humbling, and to be mentioned with him is humbling enough. But have your name on something that pops up on television and pumps up in the Mercedes-Benz boards and all that kind of stuff. I guess some people told me, said, this makes you sound very old, Coach. So I said, well, at least I'm still kicking.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we cannot wait to see it.
It is a real honor, Craig. Thank you.
For sure. And we are honored to talk to you right now ahead of the games. It's going to be outstanding. We appreciate it, and we will see you at Kell High School.
Thank you very much.
And stick with us. We still have a special guest joining us after the break. We'll catch up on some of the games she'll be covering coming up for the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. We'll be back after the break.
Customer service is everything in our industry, and one thing our clients love is when they call Breda, they get a live representative. At Breda, you get the attention you need and deserve right when you call in. Your appointment gets scheduled right then and there, and you get a specific time, no window of arrival. Our staff are your neighbors. They know what's going on in your community, and they're invested in doing it better.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of battle? Will you still train like a champion in the pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrical worker. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org. What happens after
Welcome
you
back
graduate?
into Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic previews. We're getting into a lot of things today, but we're really excited to bring on somebody that's really near and dear to us, Kaylee Manziel. She's going to be on the sidelines for the Corky Kell and Dave Hunter Classic. Kaylee, how are you doing today?
Guys, I cannot believe that it starts tomorrow. It feels like just yesterday I was walking off the field at Milton and I thought my hands were going to fall off because they were so cold. And to know that it all kind of starts back tomorrow, it's the sign of good times. And I'm just really looking forward to getting back into it.
Kaylee, the fact that football's back, I'm already ready to put out my fall decorations. So that shows where I'm at. But ahead of these games, which matchups are you really excited to see for this 4 days of action?
I mean, I feel like there's a reason to be excited for every single one, but as far as like the week as a whole, looking at all the teams that are a part of it this year, like there's so many teams and coaches with something to prove. A lot of programs that have gotten so close to getting to that Final Four or the state championship and have just barely missed. So I think that we're going to see a lot of hungry teams this week. One of the big matchups that I'm excited about is going to be the Thursday matchup between Hebron Christian and North Atlanta. And to see how such a successful smaller school in Hebron Christian can match up with a North Atlanta program that's certainly been on the rise over the last couple of years. And then I think the one that everybody should have circled throughout the week is going to be Douglas County versus North Gwinnett, not just because of the blue chip recruits that are going to be on the field or the talent, but we're going to see a really experienced Douglas County offense versus a North Gwinnett defense that brings back a lot of key pieces. So I'm excited to see how that matchup goes. But I mean, I just think that the teams that are a part of this Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic this year, they all want to win that game one. So I think that we're going to see some close games this week.
And you touched on a lot of the matchups going into Saturday's Mercedes-Benz Day, but when we get to that Saturday game, how does it feel for you to be on those sidelines at the Benz kicking off the high school football season?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Usually when I get to Saturday, like I'm running on
Fumes?
5 cups of coffee and fumes and just hoping that everything I say sounds like English. But I mean, that's ultimately what you play for. Like you want to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's part of the experience. My goal this year is to not get hit in the head with a football like I did last year. So just hoping some players will catch the ball in warm-ups. But I mean, there's nothing like playing in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Those kids know that. And to be able to see their communities and their fans come support them in one of the biggest stages in not just high school football, not just college football, but also the NFL as well. Like when you get to that day, being at Mercedes-Benz gives you that extra push that you need to get through the rest of the week.
Kaylee, you've been making some pretty good predictions about these games in the past. It's a tradition, I guess, we've done. But what do you think about this McEachern-Walton game? Walton's had a lot of success in the Corky Kell. I think last year was the first year they didn't win under Coach Bruner. But then you see this McEachern team that hasn't won their opener with Coach Reed, and these teams going up against each other. What do you expect in that Cobb County matchup?
Yeah, that's one that I expect to be a really close game. I think they're both really well coached. Now, we've seen what Walton has done in the past in Corky Kell. It's really cool to see two teams that feel so historic and traditional to the event itself. I'm expecting a close game. They both have fairly young rosters, I would say, but if I had to take somebody right now, just based on some of the players that they're bringing back and the chemistry that we saw from them last year, I would take Walton in that game.
And then I want to go to the Rome games, Creekside against Rome. That was one that didn't get to happen last year. I think that's going to be a heck of a matchup. Creekside's ranked very high in Class 4A right now. I mean, how tough of a matchup is that for the Seminoles? What do you expect?
I mean, it's so hard to pick against Creekside because it's one of those schools that they have talent year in, year out, and are still able to see them reload each year and bring back more talent. And I think one thing that Creekside does so well is after that Corky Kell game, they go out of their way to play some really tough out-of-state opponents, which ultimately prepares them for the gauntlet of the schedule that they have later on in the season. Two programs that have had a lot of recent success, but it's so hard to pick against Creekside, even though I am from Rome, so you would think I would have that bias. But seeing the talent that they have, especially at the lines of scrimmage every single year, I don't think I could pick against them.
And then there's some teams that are coming off a lot of momentum that they built last season. I think LaGrange, the run they had in Class 3A, they're going to be playing Cass. Then you look at West Forsyth, they had a great playoff run. They're going up against Douglas. But in terms of the South Paulding Kell, we'll get to see that tomorrow. How much pressure do you think is on Kell this year with all the talent they have to be able to, one, handle business at home, but also really start this journey off correctly?
Yeah, the way I view Kell right now is probably the same way I would look at LSU football, where Kell has brought in a lot of key pieces to take a step up from where they were last year. I think last year they took a step back from where they were the year before. And there is an added pressure with that game being at Kell. It's the primetime kickoff spot each year when we get to that Wednesday. But I think Bobby May does a really good job of connecting with his young players and knowing the pieces that they've brought in to really make this a complete team. I really think that we're going to see them pull out that game. But Kell is one of those schools that I would watch as the season goes on too. They were put in a new region last year with some unfamiliar opponents. That's not going to be the case this year. So I would look to Bobby May and Kell to win that game one, especially too because they know that there's a little bit more pressure on them since it is a home game.
I know this event is special for you for a lot of reasons, and one of those being that you get to work with your dad, Rusty Menzel. How is that like working? If I was working with my dad, I'd be like, Dad, enough. Like, I got it. But you see on your screen, there's a very special picture. I think this is a tradition. I've seen like this has been going on for like 4 years in a row. It's so awesome to see you get the opportunity to work with your dad. What's really stood out to you about these past few years being able to work alongside your father?
I really am so privileged to be able to work alongside of him and even just to share a similar passion. Like, we always have something to talk about. And he's more than just my dad, but also my best friend. But I think the biggest inspiration that I've had from him is he's been doing high school football since I was a kid. And like now he's got his own website that focuses specifically on Georgia football and the collegiate level. But he does high school football because he loves it, not because he feels obligated to or does it for a check. It's because he loves the stories of these kids that may go to play college or may never play a snap of football again. So to see him continue to do something that he really doesn't even have to do just because he loves it, he always gives me the advice of what will you do that others won't? And I think that this is a really great example from him of what will you do that others won't? Because he doesn't have to do this, but he does it because he loves it. And so we always wrap up the Friday night shows together, and you can definitely tell that there's chemistry between myself and my dad. But just knowing that even after leaving the house and graduating, that we get to spend all this time together, I certainly don't take it for granted.
That's so special. And you mentioned storytelling is such an important part of just journalism altogether, but especially with high school football. Is there any story that you've been a part of in telling that stood out to you?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. I mean, I felt like I have interviewed so many kids over the years, and maybe I've got a little bit of recency bias. Brady Marchese is a wide receiver at Cartersville, and he's committed to Georgia now, which is not the reason that I'm going there. But I remember last year didn't have any offers at the time, and I think that he was the only player that won the Kroger Game Ball or MVP all 3 times that we saw him play. Like, just such an energetic and optimistic and charismatic kid who I think that he would have been okay if he didn't get that validation from how well that he performed. But you could just tell at his pure self that his love for the game really shined through in all of those. But I mean, looking back on it, there's not a single story that comes to mind. But one of my favorite parts about doing this job is for some kids, this is the first time they'll ever be on television, and it could be the last time they're ever on television too. And they come into it so nervous, but the second they start talking, you see the confidence in them build throughout a 3-minute interview. So they go from not wanting to do it at all because they're so nervous, and then by the end, you can't get them to stop talking because now that they're on a roll, like you can just see how their mind set towards it changes. And I think that's one of my favorite parts is watching young men become confident in themselves, and something that is terrifying to the majority of people.
We're definitely looking forward to seeing more of that starting tomorrow for the Dave Hunter and Corky Kell Classic. Thank you so much for joining us, Kaylee, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the sidelines this week.
Yes, guys, I will see you tomorrow. It'll be here before we know it.
I know. You know, we might have to, Craig, we might have to get some sleep starting like here soon because it's going to be a long week. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be catching up with Prince Avenue Christian head coach John Rick coming up after the break. How are you doing? And we're actually joined by Coach Rick now. Hey, Coach, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. And it's a full circle moment for you. You were quarterback at Prince, and now you're back as the head coach. How's this transition home been for you so far?
It's been great. It's been a fun time to come back and be here the past couple of years with Coach Vandegrift, and now getting the opportunity to take the reins as the head guy. And it's been really good. The community here is awesome. The support is awesome. So we're looking forward to having another great year.
And as a former quarterback, what's impressed you so far with quarterback Ben Musser?
Yeah, so last year, Ben, that was his first year really getting out there and running a spread type of system. So with him coming in and learning that all last year, getting a lot of good reps, this summer he's really taken the next step. So we're going to be able to do a lot more things with him on the perimeter in the pass game, but also in the run game with the checks and the different things that he can get us into the right place. So he's taking that next step of being a really good athlete, really good player. Now he's becoming a little bit more of a field general out there for us and really becoming a leader.
And Coach, one of the things that I've noticed about Prince Ave watching you guys, especially last year in the Corky Kell, was how conditioned you guys were in that second half. You guys are playing a bigger school with West Forsyth, and then you guys just had enough fuel in the tank to close the game. How do you guys just prepare yourselves knowing that you're going to be playing, I think, the first game in the entire country this year, just to go out there and be well-conditioned mid-season form?
Yeah, well, we practice fast, we play fast. The big thing is allowing our guys to not only be able to understand that they've got to function when they feel good, but they've got to function when they're tired, right? We want that to be a competitive advantage for us. So the way that we go about our business, just in our daily practices, we're going full speed, we're going fast, we're pushing the tempo, we're trying to create as game-like of a scenario as we can, and really to where, I mean, like the old school players and the old school coaches of the past, you want to practice so hard that the games feel easy. And that's our mindset. And that's how we try to go about business on the day to day, so that we're prepared for those bigger teams that might have a little bit more depth than us, and be able to play the full game with them.
And then, Coach, I'm curious just about defensively, how much starter talent did you guys have to replace, and what's the defense looking like?
Yeah, we had to replace a lot of good players. Basically, both of our Mike and Will, the guys that played in the box, both those guys are gone. You lose Christian Garrett on the front line. We lost a few other seniors, key players on the D line. So we're having to replace a lot in that front seven. But we got a lot of guys who played a lot last year. They might not have been starters, but now they're getting their opportunities as juniors and seniors. But they're seasoned vets. They've done a lot for us, both offensively and defensively, and they're going to have to step up and play those roles. But we're excited. They've had a great offseason. Coach Doan, our new defensive coordinator, has come in and done a really good job getting those guys on the same page. So we're going to be excited to see those guys get after it.
For sure. And, Coach, it's hard to talk about your offense without talking about Jerry Beard and how he's one of the most versatile running backs in the state. What would you say he really brings to your offense?
Well, he makes life a lot easier as a football coach. I can tell you that. He's a special player, special human being off the field too, and just his ability to see things and be able to make cuts and then get through the hole and then step on the gas and go really is special. It's elite in a lot of different ways, and so we're looking to continue to use him in a lot of different ways that we might have done in the past, but also get him involved in a few more aspects of the offense this year.
Yeah, and then talk about the addition of Isaac Cope to your team as well, and what does he really bring to your roster as well?
Coach, he brings a big physical secondary kid that can play coverage. He can go run with anybody, but he can come downhill and strike you. He's been a great addition, not only to the field, but to our locker room. The kids really love him. So he's been an awesome young man to bring into our program and really see what level he's able to take his game to personally, but also raise the level of our secondary and our defense. But that gives us two juniors back there at safety with him and Judd Shoemaker, and we're excited to see both those guys make a lot of plays.
And Coach, going back to your transition to head coach, why was it so important for you? For one of the first things that you did becoming head coach was to host a youth camp for the community.
Yeah, well, I mean, at our school, we don't have a lot of kids in our school, period. So we got to get as many young kids loving football as we can. But we also want our kids to be able to see that, be able to pour back into them. And the fun part about our school is it is small enough to where those kids that are young, they might be going to youth camp, but they're going to be walking the same hallways as our kids, right? So when our kids see them at camp, they get them, they work with them, they play with them. They're in the games. They're playing all-time quarterback at the games at the end. And so now when they walk the hallways, they're like, hey, that's my guy. That's my, they're grabbing their little buddies and high-fiving them. And those kids it builds the camaraderie. It builds basically the overall school community, and it just makes it a lot of fun for not only for us and our kids, but for the lower school kids as well to come out there and practice with our guys.
And with it being a smaller community, a lot of these guys have played together since they were young kids. What advantage do you feel like this gives them once they reach the high school level and are competing for you?
Yeah, it's nice to build that continuity within a program. It really is. It allows us to start working with our kids. We got a third and fourth grade team, a fifth and sixth grade team, and then our middle school team, right? So from third and fourth grade, they're starting to do the things that we do. They practice in some of the ways that we practice. They line up in some of the ways we line up. So as they get older, it's less and less of a stress on the kid to know what to do. They're able to go play fast and really be effective. And that's why you see a lot of young kids able to make a splash early in our program, is because they've been doing this stuff. They've been working through that stuff. And now they're just taking that thing that they've learned so far. And every year the bar gets raised, the elements get a little bit smaller, the details become a little bit more important. And, it just allows those kids to play faster.
One coach, your players will be competing on a big stage at the Corky Kelton Dave Hunter Classic. Well, what are you looking forward to most with this competition coming up?
Well, I mean, it's just going to be fun to get out there with these guys. It's going to be 4:30 on turf. It's going to be hot. We're playing a great team in Callaway. But just going out there with these kids, they've worked so hard over the summer through spring ball, since January, lifting weights and running and preparing their bodies to go out and do battle together. So it's going to be an honor for me just to walk out there with them and be a part of that group, be a part of that team, and let them go compete, let them go have fun. That's the time in which all this hard work is going to come to fruition. And so we're going to be excited to get out there and get after it and do our best to play a good game and play football the way we play.
Well, thanks so much, Coach, for joining us, and good luck to your season.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.